So the Baltimore Ravens fall to the Cleveland Browns 29-24 on the road in a very disappointing fashion. We got some drama behind the scenes with Marcus Williams with an internal type of issue. We also have a big decision to make on defensive coordinator Zach Orr, who has led a very struggling, very poor defense through 8 weeks in the NFL season. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and let's just dive into it. At number one, there's a lot of controversy and arguments right now going on among the fan base of where does this blame belong? And I think there's a pretty equal portion among this team. And let me just kind of explain why. First of all, let's start with some of the coaching. It wasn't just the defensive side with Zach Orr. I thought the offensive side of the coaching staff deserves a lot of blame, which is disappointing because the offensive coaching staff has done an amazing job through 8 weeks. You know, especially the last 5 games, they were on a tear. I mean, putting up 30, 40 points per week. And I know the Browns are a good defense, but it felt like we got away from our identity. It felt like there wasn't as much specific game plan type of stuff implemented with this game. Maybe not enough attention. Maybe it's, hey, it's the Browns. You're coming off a big win against the Buccaneers, and then you got the Browns, and I don't know, but a couple of specific play calls. First of all, the one that drives me nuts the most is 4th and 1. I get it. There, John Harbaugh, the very beginning of the game, first drive, we go for it on 4th down. We should always be able to pick up a yard whenever you have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the same backfield. However, when you have those two players in the same backfield and you take one out and you take Lamar Jackson, the best dual threat quarterback in NFL history, off of the play, and then you run a wildcat with Derrick Henry, that's inexcusable. The big threat of having Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, like a once-in-a-generation type of prospect of having the best running quarterback in NFL history and one of the best running backs in NFL history in the same offense on the field at the same time, like that's an opportunity you just can't throw away and get cute and run wildcat with Derrick Henry. So that gets stuffed, and we come away from the first drive with no points, right there knocking on the end zone. The other offensive play calling I did not like was Derrick Henry only getting 11 carries. So you want to give Derrick Henry the football in that circumstance we talk about, where the game's on the line, like where the points are on the line, it's 4th and 1, you got to get it. But then the rest of the game, you decide to only give him 11 carries. That's inexcusable. Like, I just don't see a game in any Ravens game this season, if Derrick Henry's healthy, that he shouldn't get at least 15 plus carries. I think that's a very fair number. That's not asking for a lot, but 11 carries when he's averaging 6.6 yards per rush, and we were never down. Like, we were never trying to claw back into the game except for the very last drive. There was opportunities to run the football all throughout the game. We were never in a big deficit, and we just don't give Derrick Henry the football, and we keep dropping back into a very stout Browns pass rush with Myles Garrett, the best pass rusher in the NFL, so Darius Smith, and then you got Denzel Ward and those guys in the secondary, Greg Newsome. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We should have kept him more honest with our run game. So there's some coaching blame for the offensive side. On the defensive side, there's so much controversy right now about whether or not the Ravens should fire Zach Orr. But this is what I just have to present the stats, because I never want to call for someone to be fired, and I don't like to hone in on people and just dish blame and negativity. But just from a strict analysis point of view, I just want to present to you the Baltimore Ravens defense through 8 weeks. The Baltimore Ravens pass defense right now is currently 32nd in the NFL, allowing 291.4 passing yards per game. And they've given up some of these performances to guys like Gardner Minshew, the backup in Jameis Winston, against the Browns that doesn't have their best weapon in Amari Cooper. They've gotten shredded through the air game after game, giving up big plays, getting beat over top. The Ravens give up the most big plays through the air in the NFL right now, and that's just simply not a championship caliber defense. You could have one of the best offenses in the NFL, which the Ravens do, but if you don't have any type of balance and solid defense, your chances of making it to a Super Bowl and winning it are not very high in this league. You got to be able to stop some of these explosive plays from happening and allowing a team to score just like that. And the Ravens defense in points per game is 26th in the NFL. And what's weird is the Ravens run D is the best in the NFL, allowing 69.9 rushing yards per game. But that's just because teams don't try to even run the ball a lot because they know they have success through the air. So we have the league's worst passing defense. Sometimes it feels like we don't know when to blitz and that we don't have confidence in our play calling. Sometimes it feels like we just get caught in the wrong look, and it happens way too often where it just seems too easy for opposing offenses to move the football. In some of the games this year, like specifically against the Cincinnati Bengals, I thought, hey man, we were in a decent position. We didn't give up any, crazy bad, like wide open bust coverages or anything like that. Like they just made plays, accurate footballs and great catches. But in a lot of these games, like last week against the Buccaneers, this week against the Browns, whenever Eddie Jackson is singled up on Elijah Moore for a touchdown over his head, and in some of these other situations, it just seems way too easy from a schematic standpoint. And I really like Zach Orr, and I'm not saying that he can't have success as a coordinator in the future. It really might be time for the Ravens to consider someone else taking over play calling duties on the defensive side of the football, because through 8 weeks so far, you're the worst pass defense in the NFL and the 26th overall defense in points per game, and that's just not championship caliber defense. You don't want to waste this year. You don't want to waste this season. You don't know if you'll ever see this again. With the best dual threat quarterback in NFL history, with one of the best running backs in NFL history playing in their prime right now, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are playing excellent football in the same backfield. You got weapons, Zay Flowers, great tight ends. You got a great offensive coordinator, one of the best offenses in football right now. You do not want to waste this opportunity and throw it away because the defense gives up about 300 yards per game through the air and is 26th in the NFL in points per game. Something has to change on the defensive side of the football. Speaking of that, let's talk about how Marcus Williams got benched. This, to me, one of two things. So the first scenario could be he's about to get traded and was held out of the game due to negotiations or something like that. Another reason is maybe he said something to the coaching staff, or the quote that he put out last week was not received well. Maybe there's an attitude/practice issue, because whenever you hear internal and whenever losing and poor performances is stacked on top of that, stuff can get really ugly. We saw what happened with Marcus Peters, with the type of personality and attitude that he had, how that boiled over with the coaching staff, and it was not a good situation. We also saw what happened with Earl Thomas when stuff didn't go well on the football field. So whenever losing happens, a lot of the stuff that's underneath the surface comes up, and it's not masked, it's not covered up by the luxury of winning. What I don't understand is starting Eddie Jackson, who has not played great this season either. Why not give Bo Braid an opportunity, who balled out in the preseason? So yeah, we've heard of disciplinary stuff happening before where the coach sits a player for a game or whatever. What's so weird is Marcus Williams' performance this season. Such a talented player, very instinctive, has always been around the football all throughout his career, getting interceptions and pass breakups. And this season, something's not right. Something's not clicking, and it's not like he just physically fell off. He's still in the prime of his career and he's healthy. So something's going on with the scheme and the coaching and everything there with Marcus Williams, and I'm sure we'll find out more, but it's a very interesting situation to monitor. All right, so we talked about some coaching blame. Let's talk about some player blame. First of all, Justin Tucker missing field goals continues to be an issue. If Justin Tucker makes his field goals this season, all of his field goals, like he normally would in years past, the Ravens might be undefeated right now. In every single one of these games that the Ravens have lost, you can trace back at least one missed field goal that was game altering. Now, this game against the Browns, the 50-yard field goal that he missed would have changed the course at the end of the game, because on that final drive where there was a minute left with one timeout, we had to score a touchdown down by 5. If we were down by 2, if we had kicked the field goal, if we had made that field goal earlier, the Ravens could have kick that field goal, they were right there in range, taking shots at the end zone, and we could have walked that game off and came away with the win. So I love Justin Tucker, but blame's got to go where it's deserved. He's got to make those kicks. A lot of people aren't going to like this. Lamar Jackson played a great game, but he deserves some blame as well. And let me talk about it real quick. Early in the game, he missed Zay Flowers for a wide open touchdown. He overthrew him. You got to hit that throw. That's 7 points right there that we could have walked away with on that drive. And instead, we come away with nothing. And there was another throw over the middle of the field where he missed Isaiah Likely. Wide open. There was no one behind Isaiah Likely. He would have walked it in for 6, but missed that throw. Overall, I thought Lamar Jackson played a great game. He definitely did enough to win, and guys let him down around him. The defense let him down as well, but there's also 2 throws there that are a 14-point difference, 2 touchdowns added, that if he makes those throws, those are the type of throws that you would expect Lamar Jackson to make and to win a Super Bowl, right? Those are the type of opportunities you got to take advantage of. Lamar Jackson for the day goes 289 yards, averaging 7.6 a pop, 2 touchdowns, an 80.3 QBR, and 101.8 passer rating. So still great numbers. If those 2 throws were hit, I mean, we're talking about 4 touchdowns, 350 type of yard performance. But then let's also talk about, what these numbers could have looked like if we hadn't dropped the football. Rashad Bateman deserves some blame. He got hit right in the chest, face mask, whatever it was, on a 60-yard bomb where Lamar Jackson rolls out on like 3rd and 14, finds time, puts it literally in a perfect position. Rashad Bateman said after the game he got caught in the sun. And then Nelson Aguilar, he had a drop in the red zone right over the middle of the field, hit him right in the hands, bounced right off his hands, and we walk away with 3 instead of 7 there. So I want you guys to think about this. If Lamar Jackson connected on those 2 throws we talked about, that would have been 2 extra touchdowns. And if Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman catch those 2 footballs, I mean, we blow the doors off the Browns. It's not even a close football game. That's how damaging these drops are. And that was just on offense, right? And these missed throws as well. And then the missed field goal from Tucker. We just had too many mistakes to overcome at the end, and it's crazy that we still almost did it. But Kyle Hamilton, good game because he got the strip sack early. He was tight in coverage. He was popping guys. But then the easy play that he had to make at the very end to ice it, it hits him right in the breadbasket, like perfectly. Jameis Winston throws him a layup, and he drops it. And it was like so easy that he like grabbed it. He was fumbling with it, and then he's falling to the ground and couldn't come down with it. Then he's laying down with his hands over his head like I could have just won the game right there. Instead, the next game, Jameis Winston throws a touchdown to Cedric Tillman to ultimately win the game. And then Eddie Jackson, he dropped 2 or 3 interceptions as well. So think about this. If Kyle Hamilton catches that, if Eddie Jackson catches maybe one of those interceptions, we blow the doors off the Browns. It's not even close. Those are just the type of plays we got to make. Some other blame goes to the pass rushers, man. Justin Madubuike, I felt like he could have played a better game getting in the face of Jameis Winston. I know the interior of the Browns offensive line is pretty good, but he's getting paid a lot of money to get after the quarterback. But I mean, there was just times where Jameis Winston's dropping back and has 3 or 4 seconds, not even having to scramble and get out of the pocket and create because there was pressure. I mean, just sitting in the pocket, looking, dancing. And eventually a guy's going to uncover, especially when they're going against, backup corners because Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins were both out. So you're saying you're looking at this game and you have to tell your pass rushers, man, we gotta make up because, man, we're hurting in the secondary. We got our guy Marlon out, we got our guy Nate out. Marcus Williams is benched. Man, hey, pass rush, we got to step up. We got to get home. Let's go hunt. Let's go get after Jameis Winston. And we don't get the job done, man. We just allow way too much time for Jameis Winston to just pick our defense apart. And sure, some of that you can say is scheme as well. Maybe we're not running the right stunts, the right blitzes at the right time. But we got to get more pressure on the quarterback. So, Jameis Winston coming straight off the bench after not starting a game in like 2 years. 27 of 41, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 115.3. We allow Cedric Tillman to go for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. We allow Elijah Moore to go for 85 yards. Jerry Jeudy for 79 yards. David Njoku for 61 yards and a touchdown. Not good defensive football. Something's got to change. If you guys are still watching, man, let me know all your thoughts in the comments, and if you got any value, if this helped break it down and, you know, have some Ravens loss therapy, you know, make sure to smash the like button. It really does help out the channel. Sorry we haven't uploaded in a while. I've been away. I'm in the Marine Corps Reserves now after getting off active duty, and I had a drill weekend, so I wasn't in town, and I wasn't able to put out the content I wanted to, but we're back, and thank y'all for tuning in. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you in the next video.
When he wasn't looking, he ran me over.